We all know those funny motorcycle games we get in arcades where the bike can lean. This is not one of those games. This is something else. It's the Motor Trainer Simulator, and it's a lot more than simply moving a bike around.
The motorcycle trainer, Moto Trainer, is a simulator that's developed in Italy. It's been out since 2019. It was licensed as an official MotoGP simulator, training simulator last year, and since then it's just really mushroomed around the world.
And more so, it is now in South Africa.
We are the first in Africa to bring a unit into the country. We are the registered importers and distributors of the unit, and yes, we're very excited.
To demonstrate, Moto Trainer brought in a very special guest. It's BMW Motorrad superbike racer Nicole van Aswegen.
So when I first arrived and I walked in and saw this MotoGP trainer, I was a little bit nervous because I can't play TV games, I never have. So I thought it was sort of like that. But then when they started showing me how the things worked, I started understanding a bit more that it's more like a rider training thing.
The major difference between this and an arcade game is that the rider sits on a real motorcycle, possibly their own, and it behaves much like a real motorcycle. A screen shows a riding scene, as is traditional, but the bike is connected to various sensors and hydraulics, so it dives when you hit the brakes, leans when you turn into the corner, and starts standing up when you open the throttle. It literally simulates real riding.
The guys off the street that want to come in and experience what it's like to ride a MotoGP track, which is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, they can either come on their own, they will pay a fee, we will set them up either on their own motorcycle or on a factory bike which we have in-house, and they get their session. There's obviously a multiple choice of tracks, not just MotoGP, but Isle of Man, World Superbike. There's also the street education programs.
More than simply honing skills, the Motor Trainer Simulator hones the muscles, hence why riders participate in full riding gear to offer the most realistic experience money can buy, apart from going to the actual circuit. In fact, in many ways, it's better than the actual circuit.
I also found it a bit harder than riding on the track because there's no speed, so you physically have to lean the bike properly and sit up and brake and then lean towards the other side. So it's a little bit harder than I anticipated. I do feel that this Moto Trainer will actually help us a lot with training, strength training, physical training basically, and also if you know the track that you're riding, you can learn a lot of extra braking, gear changes, cornering, what you're doing with your body, how you're leaning your body, if your arm's going down more than your leg, etc.
And with Nicole setting the bar, it was time for me to put on my flapping seal suit and see what all the fuss is about. Turning in, put on the throttle. Indeed, it is quite overwhelming at first. Go faster, go faster! You feel the bike dive under brakes. You have to put your back into leaning into the corner and then throw all the might of your arms and legs to get it back up again. It's genuinely exhausting. I'm so tired. I've done 2 laps and I'm exhausted. Normally I get to at least 3. Okay, lap 3, brake, tuck in, turn.
Looking for a rider coming off the street that wants to experience a MotoGP track and do some laps on various tracks, from around the world. There's a 500 Rand cost involved if he's on one of our factory bikes. If he's on his own bike, then obviously there is more of a charge because it is time to set up the bike, fit all the electronics onto his specific motorcycle. We go from there. So it's all time related.
And while we toil away in the MotoGP room, there is more on the way.
We are now in the process of opening a World Superbike race room, so the guys that are World Superbike fanatics can get onto World Superbike tracks and go up against the top guys there. Then we're also opening an Isle of Man race room as well. So some of our local riders that have done it a few times and guys that are crazy enough to think they can do it are happy to jump on the simulator and go against the guys like Dunlop, Helia, etc.
And of course, there will be street training options coming soon. And there's even a motocross version in the pipeline. Until then, let's cut back to my glorious performance.
Okay, come on, let's pull that. Okay. Turn. Oh. If anyone needs to, I'm going to be right here. Possibly forever. Maybe they could turn me into some kind of a feature. How do they do this?
In case you're wondering, you're not actually looking at a computer-generated image like you would be if you were playing a computer game. This is a filmed onboard lap, an ideal one if you like, and along with all the visuals, there's the accompanying data logging of that lap in terms of throttle position and braking forces, lean angle and the like. The idea is that you need to match this ideal lap as closely as possible. You can crash, apparently, but I think your score, if you want to put it that way, is about getting as close as possible to that ideal lap rather than setting any new outright lap times. By the same token, you will not find yourself in a race against other bikes, though I do think in certain circumstances there is the option to race your own ghost lap so that you can try and beat your own best time. It's intriguing enough for me to want to know more, so I think I'm going to send Don back with a mission. Find an international track he's actually ridden, some circuit he sampled on a world launch of a new model perhaps, and then try and beat a time or score set by someone fit and young and professional, like Nicole. Come on, Don. If they want hundreds of rand for the experience, convince me that my money is better spent here than on a second-hand PS4 or Xbox. Seems intriguing. So rest assured we'll be sending Don back into the fray as soon as possible. Seems like he might need to up his exercise regime, which means it's maybe time to actually get out of the car once you've driven to the gym, me old son. Meanwhile, we've run out of time for this episode. Please join us again next week for another dose of motorcycling. See you then.